G'day and welcome back to my channel. Now, I was sitting at the doctor's the other day, just waiting there, seeing how my VD bloody tests were coming. No, actually not. But I was at the doctor's and I had a bit of a scare. I thought, I was basically had brain disease, Well, a lot of you probably say I already do have that. But look, the point of this is, I'm at the doctor's and I started thinking of mortality, right? As you do in these times of the great zombie apocalypse. And I thought, if I don't come back from the doctor's today, well, who's going to feed the cat? That's a thought, I suppose. But not only that, I thought, what's going to happen to my stash? What's going to happen to all the models that I've made? I've made no provision for this thing that I spend most of my life doing. And, I've heard some horror stories where people have passed away and then someone's come in and got a cleaner and they've smashed everything up and put it in rubbish bags and thrown it away. I mean, is that where I want my stash and my models to end up? And I don't think as modelers we think about this. So in this tug video, we're going to pull at the problem that is the Unwilled Gooch. What happens to your stash and your models if you shuffle off? It's a perplexing question, and I'm going to pull apart a few suggestions I've had from some of my mates. All right, roll the music. So, this is a subject we don't talk about much. I mean, in the Western world, we don't really talk much about, people passing on and the legacy that they leave, that sort of thing. It's a subject. I mean, we'll talk about gay, we'll talk about woke, we'll talk about lesbians' rights, we'll talk about keeping gay whales in the ground. I mean, we'll talk about all kinds of weird, wonderful things. They're important, yes, okay, but what happens to your stuff once you go? I mean, no one seems to care. It's just stuff, We just collect stuff, we buy stuff, and stuff's gone. But for modelers, is it just stuff? I mean, for me, I've taken years to build up my stash. And not just so I've got a lot of kits and I can brag to everyone, oh, I got hundreds of bloody kits. No. I sought out specific models, things that were of interest to me, things that were hard to find. I looked all around the world and, and tried to get the most reasonable price and the best quality version of that model. And I've got lots of rare kits. And I probably won't build them all. I mean, yeah, if I go down to the doctor tomorrow and they go, yep, you've got the unspecified disease from a bat in the Oriental region, and well, goodbye. Sorry. You know what I mean? If I was unlucky enough that that's it, I'm gone, then all my dreams and all my hopes are all bundled up in all these boxes. And also all my effort, my time, and my creativity, all my energy, and basically what is me is, locked into these plastic models. And I've got lots of them. I've got them on display case and things. So would someone come around here and have the understanding and the empathy to realise this stuff's sort of important, it meant something to someone, and pass it on? Would they look at my stash and go, this is something that's worth something, it needs to go somewhere where it's appreciated? Would that happen? Well, not unless I probably made provision for it. So what I'm going to suggest in this video is some of the things we could do to make sure that our efforts and our hobby moves down to the next generation or just moves forward to someone that would appreciate it. And I think this is worth talking about. And I think this is worth thinking about, okay? So, first of all, we'll have a look at a few examples. I mean, I ran this topic around a few of my mates to see if I was crazy, saying, is this too weird an idea for a video? Of course, they said, yes, but do it. and I asked on Patreon, I asked the patrons, and they basically, a lot of them said yes, but a lot of them didn't say no. They said, do something else. But I'll do that something else video next time, guys, okay? So if you don't know, to help me out on YouTube and make sure that I can do these sort of weird videos and have time to think about it and produce this sort of stuff, I have a Patreon page where from $1 a month you can basically sponsor me so that you get the videos early and advert free, which is kind of nice. You get to chat to me and do a few other things online, kind of nice, if you like that sort of thing. And basically you're ahead of everyone else as far as seeing my videos, if that's of interest to you. Anyhow, like, subscribe, comment, that too. Yeah, that all amuses me. I mean, by all means, at the end of this video, tell me what's going to happen to your stash. I mean, is it going in the bin? Have you got, a partner, a friend, a pet that's intelligent enough to use the internet who can do something with it and make sure it goes on to somebody that can use it? What's happening to all your models? Well, I asked Bernard. Okay. And Bernard said, well, I knew he wanted a Viking funeral. I knew that. Somehow that come up in conversation. We have some weird conversations, my mates. Anyhow, Bernard said he wants a Viking funeral. If you don't know what that is, right, he wants to get laid down in a Viking, basically a Viking boat, okay? A small one, more like a Viking canoe sort of thing. And that gets put in the water and pushed out to sea. But often the tradition is that the possessions of the great warrior get put with him. Well, in Bernard's case, he said all of his stash, all of his models, whole bloody lot in the canoe, float out into the ocean, and then a very buxom Valkyrie on the foreshore will pull back her arrow on her bow, will flaming arrow, right, flaming arrow, and bing, and that will land perfectly on his Viking boat covered in stash. And there'll be an almighty styrene sort of burn up, and that whole thing will go out to sea and sink like a bloody rock, okay? And that's the way he wants to go. I mean, yeah, selfish bastard. He's got about 1,000 kits in his stash. He's not sharing them with anyone. No, he's taking it all to his grave, to the next life, okay? So sort of like an Egyptian pharaoh, he wants it all there when he basically is resurrected in the afterworld. Yeah. Funny bugger. Now, I asked my mate Dave, Sandgroper in Western Australia, and he similarly said, yeah, look, I'm going to get cremated. Some of these guys are getting burnt. Right? He said, I'm going to get cremated, so it's sort of a box that's going in an oven type thing. He said, I want everything chucked in the box with me, right? In the oven, burn it, but of course the plastic will just melt and fill the box. And then basically when all the wood and everything is gone and he's reduced to sort of ashes inside it, he wants that block of styrene moved out, rolled down the road, and also thrown in the ocean and see how far it floats. That's what he wants. He wants this sort of block. So, sort of like Bernard, but a little bit different. But again, he just wants to go. I mean, his missus doesn't really sort of care too much about his hobby. I think she calls it dicking around or something, But she's just quite happy to have a bit of space from him sometimes while he goes off in the shed to dick about, I asked the duck, and he couldn't really give me a sensible answer. Something about ponds and, something about nests. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do with his stash. He doesn't have a lot of stash. He kind of buys kits and half builds them, puts them aside. Buys kit, half build it, put it aside. He's sort of a half guy. Since I've known him, I think he's only finished 1 or 2 kits. Not that I can talk. Mine are work in progress, though. I will finish them. Yes, slowly getting. I've got back to that Winged Up Wings kit, and we'll get another Louis video out soon, so don't worry. And I'll even probably drag out that Panzer tank that's been languishing for years. Now, I asked a few other people, and they really didn't know. They thought, well, I don't know, what can I do? Could I give it away to a club or something? And I thought of that. I thought, for me, maybe a good idea would be to say, bequeath, there's a nice word, my entire stash to the model club to, do as you want. Either share it among the members or sell it off so that the club has some money or, and that might be a nice thing to do. And then I thought, nah, bugger 'em. If all my mates are taking their stuff and going for it, then I've got an idea. I want all my ship models, built and unbuilt. I want everything taken out to sea and then floated upon the water, and all the ships, go to wherever they go all around the world. And maybe they will turn up somewhere where somebody needs that sort of model and they'll build it. It'll be sort of like a message in a bottle thing, but it's more like styrene in a box. Of course, it's probably all just going to bloody sink and be fish food anyway. Strangle some turtles, kill a few whales, and I'll be basically proclaimed a complete bastard. But what about my tanks? Well, yeah, I've got tank models and that. I'd say they can just go down to a bloody kids' sandpit somewhere and get buried, and the kids could be digging there and explore them and cut their fingers and poke their eyes out, and then, oh dear, that's not a good idea either. Hang on. Got to be a better idea. Aeroplanes. Can't go wrong with aeroplanes. Okay, so I take all my aircraft, somebody takes them up in a plane, and then they parachute out and they throw them everywhere. Oh, then there's sort of projectiles coming down and, again, probably land in some bloody school's playground and stab some bloody person. I don't know. I haven't really got a good solution here. I'll have to think about it. Maybe you can suggest what should I do? What should I put in my will? You know, I'll leave my stash to, don't say you, don't say, Harry, you'll leave your stash to me, because you won't. Fuck off. No. It's got to be a little more generic than that, and we're going to share it around a bit. So, you know, maybe there could be a lottery. There could be a Harry Houdini lottery, and, you know, maybe everybody chips in and the money goes to charity or something, you know, and you know, Bask the Cat feeding fund, and all my kits go to basically, you know, that person to do with as they will. So, I don't know. What do we do with our stash once we're gone? Well, we can't do anything. We're dead, right? Unless we can come back in some non-corporeal form and haunt our stash. There's an idea, I could do that. I'll come back and haunt my stash. That's an idea. That solves all the problems. So no matter what anybody tries to do, they try and come near my stash and be, ooh, right? And I'll be a ghostly apparition and going, do not touch the stash. Evil will befall you. He that touches the stash will have terrible things. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. Yeah, okay. All right, I've got to read up a bit about that and prepare myself for the great haunting, the great Harry Houdini haunting. Yeah, try and say that with your bloody mouth full of friggin' teeth. Well, what do we do? I'd like to hear your comments, and maybe you've got some funny ones, and maybe you've got some good serious ideas, something I can take on board. And I don't know. It's a subject we don't talk about. So, of course, Harry Houdini pulled it out of his hat, and there it is. I have tugged away at that conundrum. What do we do with our models? What do we do with our stash when we ain't here anymore? Yeah. All right. Well, as I said before, like, comment, subscribe if you sort of enjoy my videos. Make suggestions if you wanted me to do some more discussions on weird modelling subjects. Go to Patreon if you can help me out. $1 a month. That's all I ask. A bit more is great. Lots more is here is really helpful, yes. But look, just, you know, I only ask from $1 a month, and that does help me out. It all adds up, and it gives me the money to buy kits to basically review them and do that sort of thing, and sit and ponder and come up with stupid ideas and videos. Yeah. All right. That's all I've got to say. So it's goodbye from Australia, and it's hooroo from Harry Houdini.